All right, welcome back. That means we're at the end. Oh, I almost showed you the book. That means we're at the end of our week. I hope you've really been having a good time with Mrs. Leghorn and I doing the wonderful world of Eric Carle. Let me push this back for a minute while I'm chatting with you. All right, so yesterday was our fun special book, The Very Busy Spider. And if you recall, I said that the craft you were going to do was sort of like a magic craft. I loved seeing your spider webs this morning. They were amazing. And wasn't that fun to do? Here you had that black piece of paper. Who knew that you were going to scratch off the top and see all that beautiful color underneath? Huh? How fun. Now, my kids who had me last year, Alex and Aria, and Espen, you of course knew about this special paper because if you remember, we did, oh, and Olivia, yes, we did this for space. Do you remember making our space pictures at the end of our unit? Yeah. And I remember looking at that page thinking, how are we going to draw a picture on that? And there we made those beautiful pictures. So very fun, very awesome. So you four knew that it was coming. You knew what the surprise was. So, okay. So today's book, we're going back to sea creatures and things that live in the sea. This is one of my favorite Eric Carle books besides The Hungry Caterpillar. This one today, oh, and the clue I gave you was it was about a creature that carries a shell around on its back. Did you have any guesses what this one might be? And if you looked on the web, on the Google Slides, on our little place where you go in and click and go to the different rooms, you probably saw this sitting on the shelf in the library room because it shows you each book. This one is called A House for Hermit Crab. This one is so fun. And I love hermit crabs. In fact, I remember when I was in second grade, my teacher had hermit crabs in our room and we got to take care of them. It was super fun. All right, so this is A House for Hermit Crab. And once again, look at all the beautiful color. Just love it. Hermit crabs are really quiet, usually small little creatures that live in the sea. Okay? All right, I'm going to turn this again. That way I can show you the book. You can see more of the book and less of me. Okay? All right, here we go. All right, see them at the bottom? It's time to move, said Hermit Crab one day in January. I've grown too big for this little shell. Now, this book, instead of going through days of the week, like the Hungry Caterpillar, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or time, like the Grouchy Ladybug, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, this one is going to go through months of the year, January, February, March, April, May, June, which it is right now, and so on. Okay, so we're starting out in January. So Hermit Crab has outgrown its shell, looking for another one. Here we go. Hermit Crab had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too snug. He stepped out of his shell and onto the floor of the ocean. But it was frightening out in the open sea without his shell to hide in. What if a big fish comes along and attacks me, he thought. I must find a new home very soon. Isn't that interesting? They go find another shell. Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling about inside to see how it felt. It felt just right. But it looked so, well, plain, thought Hermit Crab. Ooh, pretty. You know what these are called? All right, you'll learn in just a second. In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. That's a tough word to say. If you've seen Finding Nemo, Nemo and his dad live in an anemone. You know how Nemo has trouble saying it, doesn't he? They swayed gently back and forth in the water. Oh, how beautiful you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and live on my house? It's so plain, it needs you. I'll come, whispered a small anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his hard shell. Oh, they are pretty, aren't they? And like the ones in Nemo, they're orange, aren't they? Okay, January, February, March. Now in April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the sea floor. Ooh, how handsome you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to decorate my house? I would, signaled a little sea star. Hermit Crab picked up the sea star with his claw and put it on his house. Okay, so he has one anemone and one star. Ooh, here we go. See the star? Mm-hmm. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. "Oh, how pretty you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful?" "I would," creaked a crusty coral. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. Okay, January, February, March, April, May, and June. In June, Hermit Crab came upon a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a nice path behind them. "Ooh, how tidy and hard-working you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to help clean my house?" "I would," offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. Look at that. Now he has 4 things on his shell. Right? And snails have shells, but very tiny ones compared to the hermit crabs. All right, so now after June comes July. Ooh, looks a little prickly, don't they? In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles. "Ooh, how fierce you look," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to protect my house?" "I would," answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. Ooh, he'd have to be careful picking one of those up, wouldn't he? Oh, yes. And they're a perfect item to protect his shell, isn't it? Nobody would want to come near his shell with one of those on it. All right, July, and now we're going to August. Here we go. All right. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. Do you see them all on here? "It's dark in here," thought Hermit Crab. "How dim it is," murmured the sea anemone. "How gloomy it is," whispered the starfish. "How murky it is," complained the coral. "I can't see," said the snail. "It's like nighttime," called the sea urchin. Oh, they didn't like being in the dark, did they? Ooh. So what do they need if they're in the dark? Here comes the perfect fish. In September, I like September because that's when my birthday is, and that's when school starts. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water. "Oh, how bright you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to light up our house?" "I would," replied one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. There, it's all the creatures still on the shell. Here comes the lanternfish. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. "Oh, how sturdy you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would you mind if I rearranged you?" "Not at all," answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell. "Now my house is perfect," cheered Hermit Crab. There we go. He's got everything he needs, huh? But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell was a bit too small. Little by little over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another, bigger house. This is like what happens with you, boys and girls, when you wear a pair of pants, and then a year later you try the pants on and they don't fit anymore, do they? Because you're growing. Absolutely. But he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. "They've been so good to me," thought Hermit Crab. "They're like a family. How can I leave them?" Oh, what a nice thing, huh? See the beautiful pebbles he built around himself? I do have to say, I quite like the way it looks with all those special things on it, right? Here it was in the beginning. Now look how pretty it is with all those things. All right, so this is our last month. This is December. In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. "I've outgrown my shell," she said. "Would you know of a place for me?" Well, I've outgrown my house too, answered Hermit Crab. I must move on. You're welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to my friends. I promise, said the little crab. All right, so she's moving out of her shell and into his. Now he's going to have to go find another shell, isn't he? The following January, so we're starting a new year. Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. I couldn't stay in that little shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house, a big empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain, but... Sponges, he thought. Barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. So now he's going to go find a whole bunch of new creatures to put on his shell. And those creatures will become his new family, won't they? Isn't that awesome? I love it. There we go. And that is a house for Hermit Crab. And in the back, boys and girls, if you have this book, it tells you all kinds of interesting facts about the different sea creatures, the sea anemones, the starfish, the coral, the snails, the sea urchins, and the lanternfish. Something really fun for that book. All right, boys and girls, so that's our very last read aloud, A House for Hermit Crab. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, you're going to go ahead and get to do the yummy treat and the games and the craft for this one. But we won't have any more Zooms after today. This would have been our last Zoom. So if your parents can do this for me, after you make your Hermit Crab craft, since we don't have any more Zooms after that, Mrs. McAdams would still love to see how your hermit crabs turn out. So I'm hoping your parents can take a picture of your hermit crab and either email it or text it to me so I can see how your beautiful hermit crabs turn out. Right? We'll get to see all the other projects. And I would really like to see the hermit crabs because I have a feeling they're going to be really, really beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed that. So I hope you enjoyed the week of Read Alouds, boys and girls. It's been so much fun to be with you and be back with some of you who I had last year with my friends from pre-K, and now some of you are coming up and going to be my new friends in pre-K, and I'm excited about that. So I hope you enjoyed the Read Aloud week of The Wonderful World of Eric Carle, and go to the library when it's open and get some more books, borrow some books, more Eric Carle books from the library. You will love them. They are so much fun, and there's so many great ones to read. So thank you, boys and girls. It's been wonderful to have you this week, and I will see you all very soon. Okay, bye.